Hello, seventh graders, ladies and gentlemen, and all of our students of Concord Junior High that are taking seventh grade math. You are today getting your lesson with Mrs. Oliver doing graphing proportional relationships. So this is a continue on of yesterday's lesson. Okay, so if you didn't watch yesterday's lesson or if you were absent and didn't get it, make sure you watch that video. This is a good review up with it, but most of all, the good information was in yesterday's. All right, so we are determining if a relationship is proportional by graphing on a coordinate plane. Okay, so yesterday we talked about the importance about graphing because we get tables and we know how to find our unit rates. That takes a little bit more mathematical work. And then we want to be able to eventually tell if an equation is proportional or not. And you're going to be able to use all of these going interchangeable with each other. All right, so we are on page 47. Well, 46, 47 we did yesterday, but today we're going to use your textbook. Okay, let's do a quick review on yesterday. Okay, so we had 4 that we graphed. Okay, these 2 were the only ones that were proportional, even though all of them are straight lines like we want. Remember, it also has to go through our origin. This little dot here, or spot here where it's at 0, 0, it crosses both axes where they meet. That's how we know if a line on a graph is proportional or not. Okay, so you had an exit ticket yesterday that you needed to do. And our first one was not proportional. It had the straight line criteria, but did not go through our origin. So we say the relationship is not proportional. While it is straight, it does not pass the origin. Number 2, it had both things. So yes, it was proportional because it forms a straight line and it goes through or begins at the origin. And number 3, again, another positive. It met both criteria. Okay, so today we are going to do page 48, guided practice together. Then you have homework, and it's kind of on 3 different pages, and I'll show you after we go over the guided practice. Okay, so let's look at what we need. So at page 48, that, or you can do it on the PDF file that your teacher gave you. But most students like doing this on paper. Okay, so we have a word problem for number 1. The cost of a 3D movie ticket is $12 for 1 ticket, then $24 for 2 tickets, $23 for 3 tickets. And we need to determine whether the cost is proportional to the number of tickets by graphing on the coordinate plane. Then the lovely words to explain our reasoning. Okay. So when we explain our reasoning, it's not wanting to let me select my phone. Okay. That's saying we can't just say yes or no. We have to give a reason for it. All right, so first let's graph our ordered pairs. 1 ticket, we are spending $12. Okay, so that's our first ordered pair right there. For 2 tickets, it is $24. And 3 tickets, it is $36. Okay, so now let's make our line. If you're doing on this paper, try to use some type of straight edge. And you notice I go through all the points, all 3 points here, to make sure it's straight, and I just keep extending it. That is how we know that yes, it is proportional because, oops, that's the only bad thing about writing with my pen. Sometimes I misspell things. Oh, come on. Let me select my eraser. Thank you. Because it is a straight line and crosses the origin. That is a perfect way to do your explanation. You don't need anything fancy. Let us know. Does it meet both criteria that we need? All right, let's go down to number 2. The number of books 2 stores sell after 1, 2, and 3 days is shown. So we got a graph, and they already graphed it for us. Which book sales is proportional relationship between time and the books? And we need to explain. Okay, so here we have the book place or book palace. Forgot about the A. Okay, we have a straight line and it crosses the origin. What about discount books? It does cross the origin, but it is not a straight line at all. Okay, so that right there tells us what we need to say. Okay, which one crossed the origin and was straight? Book palace. Palace is proportional as it is a straight line and crosses the origin. Okay, discount books does not. Okay, so sometimes you don't have to graph. Sometimes you're just looking at something that's already graphed for you. Okay, but remember, both criteria you must have is the straight line and goes through the origin. So how does graphing relationships help you determine whether the relationship is proportional or not? Well, you could say it gives a visual to check for straight line. And we'll talk about more next week about why it's a straight line and what's important about the being a straight line. And starts crosses the origin. Right? So it's really a good visual instead of using the tables. And I know some of you are really like the tables, you're able to find your unit rates so easily. Right? Going and having this actual visual, you can look and check. Like, look at how quickly we did number 2. Okay, so sometimes it can be something that is a good quick check. Okay, you could also use it as a double check. If you're not very sure if your table was done right, you can graph it to see if your table was done right. All right, so let's talk about homework. Okay, your homework starts on page 49 but ends on page 51. You are doing 1 through 6 and 9 through 12. Okay, so let's take a look at those real quick. Right. There we go. That's the one I like. Okay, so we start here on page 49. Okay, there's 1 through 3. Okay, 4 and 5 is more of a really thinking problems, and so is 6. Okay, so make sure you read these problems carefully. Then you are skipping 7 and 8 and going to the next page. Okay, you have 9, 10, and then 11 and 12. They don't have tables. So if you need a graph. If you need a graph, there should be one provided from your teacher in a PDF file form. Okay, so make sure you're going through, you read it carefully, and then you also watch for the word explaining. You have to explain why. Other than that, if you have any questions, please reach out to your teacher and have a great day.